Heels are finally back in action tonight after a week off. It's time to put together a dominant performance.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Friday, November 15th, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making this your first listen or watch to kick off your Friday, get the weekend rolling. It's great to be together. Shout out to all you everydayers who are joining us, as well as the Locked On Tar Heels insiders and the Locked On Tar Heels Discord family. Let's get after it. This episode's brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers, you can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if that bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hey, before we get into today's show, let me let you know it is a two-show Friday. There's also a full show that I recorded with Denora Searcy, where we're getting you ready for Carolina and Wake Forest tomorrow night game Blue Out on ACC Network, along with the weekend whip around. So if you're looking for the weekend whip around, it's on the football show. Make sure you check them both out, man. Get ready for all the great Tar Heel action this weekend. On this show, we're talking basketball. We're talking the men hosting American. Tonight, we'll have our Four Corners preview, some big storylines I'm looking at, but also massive game for Courtney Banghart's women's team playing UConn in Greensboro. We'll get to that in the last segment of the show. Let's get right on in, though, to the men who have been off for a week since going to Allen Fieldhouse. Tonight, the 10th ranked Tar Heels are hosting American. We're going to get patriotic, and I mean that in a couple ways, because Americans in the Patriot League. So there you go. In the Smith Center tonight, 8 o'clock ACC Network. So the Tar Heels, 8 on ACC Network all weekend long, tonight and Saturday. Heels are favored at FanDuel by 24.5 in this game. Going to be tough to cover because that's a big old spread. And I'll just go ahead and tell you now, and we'll get to this later. But American does not play very fast. So we'll see. Now, you need to know, I'm going to go live after the game tonight. Make sure you tune in for that right after Carolina and American finish off. And so I'll be coming at you. No Mark Campbell tonight. He had some prior family obligations, so just me. And but man, we'll be hanging out. Make sure you lock in. Same thing tomorrow after the football game. We'll be live here on YouTube and then in your audio feed as well. Storylines. I've mentioned it a couple times already, but it's been a week since Carolina played. Kind of that frustrating end of like, similar to the Alabama game that ended last year, Carolina gets a lead late and cannot hang on to it. So you know they're champing at the bit to get back out and turn things around against American. But, you know, early season, week off, curious to see how the Tar Heels come out. Do they have some rust in them? Are they crisp? So I'll be watching for that. And then it's another week before they play again when they're at Hawaii next Friday night, which is really Saturday Eastern time by the time it tips off. So watch to see how Carolina comes out, because I want to see them come out hot, but it'll be interesting. It's been a week off. Secondly, Carolina needs to dominate this game. So far it's been that performance against Elon that was a fine, and then first half against Kansas, and then a really strong second half against Kansas. The Tar Heels need to put a game on tape where they just come out. And I know it's only the third game of the year, but it's time to go ahead and just dominate this game. Full 40 minutes, start to finish. Get plenty of minutes for plenty of guys, plenty of playing time and production all around. This is a game where you are simply more talented than your opponent. We got to recognize that, but you got to go out and do it. You got to prove that is true. And so I'm looking for Carolina to take care of that business. And as part of that, the next thing that we need to say is that this game, while it's like, it's American and it's like, oh, it's American, so what? This is a crucial game, and here's why. After this game, here's the Carolina schedule for the next bit. I just said it, but at Hawaii next Friday, true road game. Hawaii's not great, but it's a road environment, many time zones away from Chapel Hill, and so that's a thing. But then after that, the next Wednesday, you play Dayton to start Maui, Dayton is a really good basketball team, folks. I'm going to keep saying that. Do not sleep on that game looking ahead to the second game. But then second, Carolina is either going to play Auburn or Iowa State. And then after that, it'll either be UConn or Michigan State or Memphis or Colorado in the third Maui game. Then after that, you come home and you host Alabama. And then you host Georgia Tech for the first ACC game before finally getting a little bit of a break again, hosting LaSalle on December 14th, like a month from now. And so this is why I say this. If Carolina doesn't take care of business in this game, like get out ahead and let a bunch of guys get a bunch of minutes, let the coaching staff try out a bunch of stuff and see what they got, they don't have much other time to do that until a month from now. But by that point, you've played the majority of your critical non-conference games because you've already played Kansas. That'll be past Alabama, past either Auburn or Iowa State, and then whoever you play in that third Maui game. Yes, you'll still have UCLA. Yes, you'll still have Florida. But man, there just aren't many chances because you've only got 12 non-con games. And so this is the day where I need to see Cade Tyson's role start settling in. See him be comfortable. Get his sea legs a little bit. Let him just get comfortable in his skin in Chapel Hill. This is an opportunity for both the freshmen to really continue settling in. You know, Ian Jackson looked so much better against Kansas than he did to open the season against Elon. But this is another great opportunity to just do more. Same for Drake Powell to keep, like, this is a game where Drake Powell's athleticism just wins out. Same will be true with Seth Trimble. And then for some of the other newcomers, you know, like, let's have a game, Ben Allen Lubin, those kind of things. So this game is critical. Do not overlook its importance in preparing Carolina for the rest of the season. Thinking about rotations and stuff, though, I truly think, you know, we talked all offseason, as we always do, about starting five. And it's a starting five that I don't think many of us suspected. I know some of you do, and kudos to you that got this right. But I think this five is locked. The 3G lineup of Elliot, Cadeau, RJ Davis, and Seth Trimble, and then the Jalen show with Jay Witt and Jay Wash. That's what we're talking about. And there was a comment on YouTube earlier in the week, but I can't remember who it was from. It might have been Tony Dowd. I can't remember for sure. If so, what's up, Tony? By the way, Tony's always hanging out and watching the show and interacting. And yeah, I've just been saying that about the starting three. I'm in no way saying that to the neglect of Ian Jackson or anybody else that's part of the backcourt. Just 3G for the starting lineup. So really, I mean, something crazy might happen at some point along the season. But for right now, it's hard to envision a world where this isn't your starting five season long. Speaking of that, Jalen Withers, man, you know, there's been one or two moments of the inconsistent Jalen that we saw last year, but for the most part, he's been fantastic in these first two games. I know he had a very quiet first half at Kansas, but did a phenomenal job in the second half. Jalen Withers has the most made three-pointers on this team and at a good percentage too. It's not like he's just jacking them up, but he's made 5. Nobody else, like RJ, has 4. Jay Witt's leading it. He had a dub in game 1, double-double. I mean, just barely at the threshold, and was 1 rebound shy of doing it again against Kansas. Can he string together another? Because that's the key with Jalen Withers that we've talked about so much. Gotta be consistent. I need to see it from him again. I want to see a double-double. Go get it, man. Get those buckets, whether it's reining in a few more, like corner threes have been good to him. Getting active around the basket, getting those rebounds. Let's see it, man. I love it so far. But again, consistency. Got to stack games. So watch for that tonight. And then the other thing I'll say, and then I'll introduce us to American a little bit, is attack mode. This is the word we've been jokingly saying. Like, I feel like I've said this word so many times, but that's how this team has to live. And right now, I specifically say it in terms of getting to the free throw line. 16 trips to the free throw line against Elon, made 13 of them. And you think that amount of attempts is decent and pretty good. Coach Davis was not happy with it. If you hear his pregame Kansas presser, he was disappointed in that. 31 attempts against Kansas, he's not going to be disappointed in that, nor in making 28 of them. But I think the reality is, like, if I'm setting a threshold, I want to see Carolina get into the line 20 times a game. And if you can average that season long, that puts you in good shape. So far, it's been, though, chiefly the guards, and in particular, the 3 starting guards. We saw Ian Jackson get to the line a lot was it the Johnson C. Smith game or the Memphis game? I feel like it was the Johnson C. Smith game. But we need to get other guys involved, right? We need to see Jalen Withers getting to the line, Jalen Washington, Van Allen Lubin, Drake Powell attacking and getting there. I want to see more than that. Obviously, you want to keep getting the guards to the line because those are the dudes that are going to hit, which has been a nice change in revelation for Elliot, Cadeau, and Seth Trimble on the young season, who neither of were good free throw shooters last year or for Seth his freshman year. But I want to keep seeing it. I don't want to not see the guards getting to the free throw line, but I want to see other guys getting there to attack. As for American, they are 1-2 on the young season. They beat Harvard, and then they lost to both LaSalle, who Carolina plays later in the season, and Siena. Right now, they're 243rd at KenPom. Just for frame of reference, there's 364 teams in Division I. This is Dwayne Simpkins, their head coach. It's his second year, was 16-16 last year, 10-8 in the Patriot League. Their leading scorers so far this year are Matt Rogers, Colin Smalls, and Jeff Sprouse. So those are some names to keep an eye out for. The 5 starters in the backcourt, it's nice. They're kind of small, like Carolina is. Ironically enough, Colin Smalls is 6'2", and then Jeff Sprouse is 6'1". But as I said, that's 2 of your 3 leading scorers for this team. Greg Jones, Matt Mayock, 6'6" and 6'7" forwards, and then Matt Rogers, who we also mentioned as the leading scorer for American right now, is a 6'9" forward. He's getting 13.3 a game. So, we'll watch to see what Jay Wash can do with that. But the thing is, as you look at that, remember 6'1", 6'2", 6'6", 6'7", 6'9". One of those dudes is going to have to keep up with Seth Trimble, right? Like, that's the thing. We've so often thought about, oh man, Carolina's going to have to guard these other people. These people have to guard Carolina too. And getting into Seth Trimble, man, good luck to you, because this dude is just relentless this year, and I absolutely love to see it. All right, we're going to get next to our Four Corners preview, where I give you 4 things to watch out for in this game, including American. They play slow. I'm talking slower than Virginia slow so far this year. So the question is, can the Heels who want to run exert their will? We'll look at that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Omaha Steaks, nothing delivers the comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, you get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off on top of that with promo code college. Talking about skipping the holiday hustle and bustle, this is what my family is literally planning to do for Thanksgiving. We're not doing like a turkey and stuff. We're going to do steaks. So maybe this is our route. Maybe we need to go to Omaha Steaks. That'd be awesome. With 5 generations of experience at Omaha Steaks, they're consistently delivering the world's best steak experiences. And the gift experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.89. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and so much more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code college and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's $50 off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code college. Minimum purchase may apply. Go check it all out at omahasteaks.com. As we do ahead of every basketball game, it's time for the Four Corners preview, our kind of tip of the cap to Coach Smith and his legendary offense. Frustrating to most people, glorious to Tar Heels fans. Am I right? So, number one, I teased this, but it's a big question and maybe the biggest storyline of this entire game. That is, I said this game's critical for Carolina getting lots of experience for lots of guys. Here's the other reason it's critical. Can Carolina exert their will, their desire to get out and run against a team that wants to specifically not do that? Here's what I mean. American is 363rd in adjusted tempo at KenPom. You might recall that I just told you a second ago that there are only 3, but I say only because American's 363, They're a 364 team, so they are next to last in adjusted tempo, meaning the number of possessions they play per 40 minutes. Only Air Force is slower. And in fact, American is 2 slots slower than Virginia, folks. That's what we're talking about here. And it's not like some anomaly this year that they might speed up. Last year, they were 355th in adjusted tempo. So this is who they are. So this is going to be a major test of Carolina's will with the team that doesn't want to get out and go with them. Can they do it? Can Carolina still continue to get a high percentage of their points from fast break opportunities? Can they play fast enough to get lots of possessions? They have had 20% of their points come from fast breaks against Elon, 19% against Kansas. We're watching that. Can that still happen? But also, I am curious to watch for. There are going to be teams that will not run with you this season. So in moments where you have to slow down, can you? Can Carolina, without like a true back to the basket big, play in the half court and create spacing and drive as needed? Because that's going to be critical too. You cannot just win by running, but I am looking for both of those. Can the Tar Heels exert their will, but can they play in the half court when they have to? Part of the answer to that question is Four Corners preview point number 2. Can RJ Davis get going from a shooting standpoint? He's doing great in other places. 11-1 assist to turnover ratio on the season. Literally 11 assists, 1 turnover. That's encouraging from your shooting guard. 2 steals. So he's averaging a steal a game, 8 boards, 4 rebounds a game. We'll take that. A block. And of course, he's always doing his work at the free throw line. 16 of 18 there, which is 88.9%. The issue comes in RJ's efficiency so far. He's not being efficient shooting anywhere but the free throw line. 6 for 16 from 2. Small sample size, I hear that. 37.5%. But then from 3, 4 of 18, 22.2%. There is, again, it's part of this is small sample size, hadn't got out more. Like 22.2% shooting 4 of 18 from 3. But if he had just made 2 more of those, 6 divided by 18, it would be 33%, right? And you'd feel a lot better about that. So it's not going to take much to get RJ to where he needs to be, but you want to see him get going, right? You don't want to see him keep stringing games together where he's not shooting well. So I'm going to be watching for that. Four Corners preview point number 3 that I am watching for. Sticking in the backcourt with his backcourt mate, is Seth Trimble going to set his 3rd career high in as many games so far this season in terms of points? Coming into the season, you might recall Seth Trimble's career high in scoring was 12. Carolina has had 5 games of some type so far, 3 in the preseason, 2 in season. In those 3 preseason opportunities, 19 points in the blue-white scrimmage, 33 at Memphis, 15 against Johnson C. Smith. In the 2 regular season games, 15 against Elon, 19 to lead the Tar Heels at Kansas. So in 5 games so far this season, Seth Trimble has set his career high, or has eclipsed his previous career high all 5 times. Now, this year so far, in the regular season, he's set a career high both regular season games. That's pretty crazy. And so, he's blown past that, and there's no reason to expect that he's going to stop, even if RJ does get going. What Seth brings to the offense is enough different from a player like RJ, and with the way Carolina's playing, no reason to think that Seth, even if Carolina gets into more half-court moments, Seth's athleticism can take over. So, is this the game where we see him get to 20 for the first time? It's very doable, man, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it all. Also, been so impressed by how his game has grown in multiple ways. Free throw shooting is a great example of that. His freshman year, 54.8%. Sophomore year, 66.7%. That was last year. So far this year, 90.9%, including going 10 of 10 at Kansas, man. Like, that type of growth is, he's not going to go 10 for 10 every game, but even if you go 8 or 9 of every 10, that's where you want to be. And Seth is proving that he can do that, man. He has put in the time and the hours and the work and dedication, and it's paying off in a major way. Way to go, Seth Trimble. So we'll watch to see if he can set another career high in scoring. 4th, and finally in the Four Corners preview, is this the game where we get a Jay Wash breakout? So far, he's been fine, but he hasn't hit double digits in points yet. Now he's had 7 and 8. That's fine. But he hasn't hit a three-pointer yet. He's 0 of 1 in both games. And he hasn't hit double-digit rebounds yet, which, to be fair, he's literally never done in his Carolina career. He had a career-high 9 rebounds at Kansas last Friday. But it's time. It's time for Jay Wash to take some ownership of being the dude as the starting 5. Again, as always, this year, the guards are going to take care of a lot of that. But something Coach Pat Kilby and I advocated for on Wednesday's show was the coaching staff getting Jay Wash more intentionally involved earlier in the game. Maybe that's calling some plays for him. Maybe that's calling a lob. Maybe that's getting a pick and pop, whatever it is. Would like to see some intentional opportunities for Jay Wash to do what he does. And there have been some cool spurts, right? Where he's just had a couple buckets in a row, a couple big plays in a row. And so I know he's capable of doing it without having plays run for him. Like, he doesn't need that. But would like to see the Tar Heels do a little bit more of that, because it continues to give variety, which is more difficult for your opponents, put more on tape, all of that kind of stuff. I want to see that from Jay Wash. I think he's been doing a solid job. I'd like to see it blow up a little bit, and I think this could be a game where that happens. All right, so while the guys may have a bit of a bye game on Friday night, the women, they do about what the guys did last week. Carolina men playing number 1 Kansas last week. Carolina women playing number 2 UConn tonight. Can they knock off the mighty Gino Ariema? What's in store for Coach Banghart's club? We'll get to that in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app, it gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one spot. So maybe you get a hunch in the middle of the game. Well, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more right there on the same app where you place your bets, on the same page. Football game tomorrow night. Carolina favored by 10.5 over Wake. I couldn't believe the line was that steep, but it is. Let's do it. Carolina, this game tonight over American Tar Heels favored by 24.5 points. That's a big line, but it's very doable, and they need to, man. It's time. I looked in the line for the women's game isn't out yet, but make sure you check that out as well at FanDuel.com. You'll get started again with $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. So never waste a hunch and go make every moment more on FanDuel.com. It's America's #1 sportsbook and an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Same sport, different gender. Let's talk about the ladies. Carolina's number 14 in the AP poll, playing number 2, UConn. Tonight, 6 p.m. on ESPN2. All sorts of great Carolina action. Go make sure you check out the weekend whip around on the football show, because, man, there's a bunch of great stuff going on today on Friday. This game will be in Greensboro, not at Carmichael. So don't show up at Carmichael expecting to see a massive game. No, Greensboro at First Horizon Coliseum is what it's called. Thank you, corporate sponsorships. We appreciate you. Last year, remember these two teams played up in Connecticut in Uncasville. The UConn women won 76-64, really pulled away in the second half there. And UConn leads the all-time series 8-5. Kind of cool. Coach Banghart is going for her 100th win as the head coach of the Tar Heels today. And how cool would it be to do that against Gino, right? Like, yeah, my 100th win at Carolina against the great Gino Ariema, who, by the way, is in his 40th season at UConn and has 1,116 more victories at UConn than Coach Banghart does right now at North Carolina. Absolutely crazy. Both teams are undefeated on the young season so far. UConn's played 2 games. They have smoked both of their opponents, Boston U and South Florida. It was 86-32 and 86-49. So there's that. If they're going to score 86 again, maybe Carolina could get to 87. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that Coach Banghart would like to see that number held much, much lower, as this Carolina team's been playing great D. Carolina has also smoked their opponents, just not quite as smoky as UConn. At home against Charleston Southern, 83-53, UNCW 77-50, and a true road game midweek this week at North Carolina A&T, where the Tar Heels won 66-47. Kudos for Carolina taking that game. I love it when programs do that. So way to go, Coach Banghart and company. As for UConn, look, you know the big name. It's Paige Beckers. She leads the way for Gino's team, 17.5 points a game so far, 3.5 boards, 4 assists, and 3.5 steals. does a lot of stuff. Was just so great to see her getting back into action last year after all the kind of injury struggles she had. And quite frankly, with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese off to the WNBA, Paige Beckers is one of the key figures in women's college basketball this year. And in a day and age where, honestly, the men's game has a little bit of a problem with household names and identity at the same level as the women's game, it's cool to see this, man. And so neat for Carolina to keep getting to play UConn and going up against Paige Beckers. But it's not just her. Sarah Strong is averaging 15 points a game. There's two other players in double figures for the Huskies. Ashlyn Shade, no relation and spelled different. She doesn't have a C. My name's got a silly, quiet C in it. It's German. So there you go. And Jonna L. Alfie. All four of those ladies averaging double digits so far for UConn. And man, keep in mind, UConn went to the Final Four last year. They get 3 starters back, and they bring in another great freshman class. Going to be a tall order for Carolina. Now, for the Tar Heels, it's not Alyssa Usby leading the way so far. It's Lexi Donarski, 15 points a game. She's shooting 88.9% from 2. It's just 8 of 9, but still, that's impressive because she's also shooting 36% from 3, 9 of 25. So really impressive what Lexi's doing on the young season. Usby, as for her part, yeah, she's doing what she does. 10.7 points, 8.7 boards, 3.3 assists, a steal, and 1.3 blocks. So just filling up the stat sheet as she always does. Something of note for the Carolina side is the women are still just trying to work to get healthy. India Navarre has been out. Kayla McPherson's been out. Neither of them have played yet. Maria Gokdang missed the North Carolina A&T game. She went out in the midst of the UNC Wilmington game. So just thankfully, Carolina, really, it feels like they have much more depth this year and can rely on that depth much more, which is good news. But you'd really like to get those ladies back so you can fill out your full complement and really be rolling with that. But, the silver lining often of injuries is it gives other ladies a chance to step up. For example, Layla Hull, redshirt freshman, set a career-high 14 points to lead Carolina in scoring at NCANT on the road. And so you like to see those little things that are happening and others stepping up to really help build even more depth. So Layla, do it again, man. Keep rolling. So look, let's not make a mistake. Carolina is not probably going to be favored in this game, and they're looking for a massive statement signature win at the beginning of the season. Very similar to what the Carolina men were trying to do last week at Kansas. They came up short. Can the ladies do it and really, really get a resume win that's going to have legs all season long? We're watching for that. You might recall just a couple things to watch in this game. Last year, the Carolina women turned the ball over a ton. They had double-digit turnovers in every game but 8, and 5 of those 8 were 9 turnovers, so they're just right there. So far this year, double-digit turnovers in all 3 games. But that's misleading when I say it that way because it's 10, 11, and 10, meaning the ladies are averaging 10.3 turnovers a game, which is good for 11th in the nation. Much, much, much better ball handling so far on the early part of the season. Now, this is a different level of competition, so we'll see how it goes tonight. But Carolina's average last year was 13.1 turnovers a game, down to 10.3 this year. Got to keep doing that. And on the flip side of that, I referenced it earlier, but Carolina's defense is once again key for these ladies. That's been true so often. But how about this? We're talking about Carolina's steals or turnovers. Each of the Tar Heels' first 3 opponents this year have turned the ball over 20 plus times, like more than 20 times. I think it's 21 in the first game, 25, and then 21 again. That's insane. Will that happen against UConn? Probably not, again, because it's a different level of competition. But to even a slightly lesser level, could you do that again? So we'll watch for that. And then the other thing I'm really curious to see is how are Carolina's youngins going to do, right? Like, I'm excited to see Sierra Toomey in this game. I'm excited to see Blanca Thomas in this game. Layla Hull, how does she follow up what she did against North Carolina A&T as a redshirt freshman? All sorts of stuff like that. But this is where you start building in those rhythms and rotations and trust, and you can do this on this stage and figure out what you're made of, all of that kind of stuff. That's what we're looking for. Who shows up in a big-time game to make big-time plays. And I know Coach Banghart will be watching for that as well. Oh, man, good luck to both of these teams. As a reminder, we're going live tonight after the men's game. The women's game will already be done, so we'll know that result as well, along with the women's soccer team, who's starting NCAA tournament play today, along with field hockey, who starts NCAA tournament play today at 11 a.m. All, man, just so much Carolina action this weekend. It's great. It all kicks off today on Friday. If you haven't subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels in video and audio, make sure you do that now so you don't miss a second of the show. Join Locked On Tar Heels Discord, where you get to hang out and chat with all sorts of great Tar Heels fans. It's a great, healthy environment to be in. Free to join. The links in the show notes. We'd love to have you. If you want to go even deeper with Locked On Tar Heels, you can join the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders, where you get to chat directly one-on-one with me through text messaging. It's awesome to get to do. And then you get free access to all of my record book data, my stats, my charts, all of that, which I update literally after every game. So you can know where the record book is in real time, all the time. Join it. We'd love to have you. The link for that is also in the show notes. Always a great day to be a Tar Heel. Don't forget to check out our football show today as well. We'll be live tonight after the men's basketball game and again tomorrow night after the football game. But until then, peace.